Has this lockdown caused you to feel overly fatigued? And as a result, is your sex drive and sexual activity shrinking? Hi, I'm Dr. Catalina, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or my podcast, Sex Marks the Spot. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm Dr. Catalina Lawson, a licensed clinical psychologist, and I love talking about sex. Sex Marks the Spot is a podcast that bridges the gap between what we know and what we actually do when it comes to sex, relationships, and health. Today, I want us to talk about fatigue and how fatigue impacts your sex life and what you can do to actually manage it. All right, so fatigue is one of the most, a lot of my research and work has been in cancer, and fatigue is one of the longest side effects that's the most difficult to manage. Fatigue isn't just being tired. I describe it often as feeling like you're walking in quicksand and mud and just dragging and feeling low motivated, low energy, and feeling really heavy. Everything is effortful. Naps generally don't help with fatigue. Exercise can help a little bit. But what we find with fatigue, and again, whether this be because of the COVID, one of the things that we're seeing right now, and particularly with the monotony and not having those outlets that we generally use to refuel ourselves, fatigue has set in for many of my clients, and certainly this is what a lot of the studies right now are also showing about how our quality of life has been impacted by this COVID pandemic. So, what you see is oftentimes when we're fatigued, this idea of actually having sex and having a sex drive, forget about it. Like, again, we are all human. So if you're noticing yourself being disinterested or even maybe aversive to sex right now because you're experiencing fatigue, you are not alone. So let's talk about how you can begin to manage the fatigue and then apply it to actually improve or heighten your sex drive and improve your sexual well-being. So, one of the best strategies to personally manage your own fatigue is activity pacing. Pacing yourself throughout the day, which again, during this COVID lockdown can be incredibly hard because we don't really have any fine stops. Most people don't even know what day it is. So what's important is actually, particularly if you're doing a lot of Zoom calls or you're on your computer all day, taking breaks every 30 to 45 minutes, actually getting up, getting some water, moving your body, okay? Again, it's interesting that with fatigue, naps have to be very, very regular, really scheduled, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So with fatigue, really it is about pacing yourself and being realistic about what you actually can achieve in the day. All right? When it comes to sex, it is the same thing. If we are now in about 3.5, 4 months, I don't even know where we are anymore in this lockdown. But it's been a long time. And if you found yourself, particularly over the last month and a half, just not being interested in sex, again, pace yourself here too. Sex is not just intercourse. So begin to actually become intimate, cuddle with your partner, give each other massages. Pace yourself as far as not always feeling like being intimate has to be either a quickie or this long drawn out session. Find a middle ground and experiment with your energy levels as to what actually is comfortable. Because sex is meant to be pleasurable, but if you are too fatigued and distracted by your fatigue, your head's not going to be in the game, your body's not going to relax. So Really actually try to pace yourself even when it comes to sex. So really just, even if it's 5 minutes of, a little hand play or oral play, play with that and be okay with it not always having to also end in a climax. I get it. If you're super orgasm focused, that's understandable. And there's always this impetus that we have to focus on outcome when it comes to sex. No, you don't. Okay. Another tip after pacing is look at when you actually have more energy in the day and schedule times to be intimate. Okay. So for instance, if you actually have been sleeping well and you're more of a morning person, then ask your partner if you can try to be intimate then. And again, not having to have full intercourse, but if even just touching each other and just cuddling, taking your steps, and particularly if you have been withdrawn from sex for a while, just giving yourself, finding times in the day that actually you generally have more energy. Experimenting, okay? Another thing that you can begin to do is actually, if you already are feeling like you're so fatigued and everything is effortful, do yourself a solid and actually pamper yourself beforehand. And this goes for the men as well, okay? Take a nice relaxing bath and take your time to put your moisturizer on and pamper yourself before you actually want to become intimate. You need to begin to actually train your body that rather than sex being aversive and a chore, that this is actually a treat. It's something pleasurable. So you can begin to associate you pampering and self-care to a pleasurable activity. You're starting to actually nurture your body to actually give it some of that love and energy to then also refuel you, but then prepare yourself. So you're setting the stage for connection and being intimate with your partner. So 3 things that you can do are 1, pace yourself in your daily activities, as well as how the types of sexual activities and the process of sexual activity you engage in. 2, plan times when you have the most energy during the day. And then 3, pamper yourself before you're wanting to engage in some type of sexual activity with your partner. Those are 3 strategies that you can do to actually manage your fatigue and also nurture your sexual well-being. So I hope this was helpful, guys, and I'm always welcome to your feedback. So feel free to leave comments and share. Again, you can follow me on YouTube or Instagram and subscribe to my podcast and channel. Feel free to learn more about me. I've got tons of videos on my website at drcatalina.org. Stay safe and healthy out there, guys. Cheers.